Record. There we go. Did everybody get a warning that I'm recording?
It shows that you're recording.
Cool. Okay, good. Well, yeah, like I was saying, I hope all of you have heard the first class, because I'm going to do a quick review on the second class. And then we're going to take a look at some more universal laws, and then we'll talk about some other things that are coming up. So before I get started, this is a quick look at the agenda. On class one, I share with everyone why I decided to do this. And it's all about awakening to our power. Awakening to our power so that we can create the life we desire. These have been some perilous times, so there's a way for us to check in and see, do we have to be at the mercy of outside forces, or is it a fact that we can actually create our own lives no matter what's going on? You know, how do we take charge? How do we get out the victim mode and really take charge and be the master of our destiny? Is it luck that some people get to do to be so fortunate to live abundant, prosperous, happy, peaceful lives? Or are there techniques and tactics that we all can use? So that's what we're going to explore. So here's our agenda. We're going to check in how we're doing, do a meditation. Every class that I do always start with a little meditation. We're going to recap class 2, look at rituals and Ori. I'll introduce some of you to Ori if you haven't heard it from our last class. And I think I talked about it in the first class. And then we're going to quickly go over some laws, universal laws. And we'll talk about what the heck are universal laws and why do we need to know them. And we're going to learn how to we're going to introduce the concept of universal laws. They're always in effect. Well, I'll get into more details. They're always in effect, so you're going to become conscious users of universal laws. So before we go any further, let's do a quick check-in. A couple of people, if they want to check in, if you were in the first 2 classes, or listen to the recording, I would love to have somebody check in with feedback on that, and then what they expect from here. So if I could hear from a couple of people before we do the meditation. I always need to know what you expect anyway. Unmute your phone if you're trying to talk too.
I was gonna say, I've been thinking a lot about.
Hello, is that Camille?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was saying I've been thinking a lot about when we talked about the belief systems, whose beliefs are we following? Do we believe it because that's what we were taught and that's what we think is right? Or is it really something that we believe for ourselves and have experience with to believe it?
So have you come up to any conclusions? Were you able to explore for yourself and uncover any conclusions? Or are you still working on it?
I think some of what I believe, I guess, is what I've been taught. I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought as to whether or not I think it might be true for my life. I just go with it because it's people that I trusted that, you know, gave me that information.
Good, okay. Well, I'll tell you this, if you have a belief and it's working well for you, keep at it. What we want to explore, beliefs that may be hindering us, and as well as you may uncover that some of your hindrances are based on past beliefs that you don't even know. So that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Good, thank you. Anybody else want to contribute what you learned or what you're looking forward to, what you hope to explore, uncover, etc.? 1 or 2 other people. Who I have on here? Nobody?
We want to hear you.
You want to hear from me? Okay. All right. Well, we can do that. We can do that. I need one other person to just give me quickly why you're here. If you're just here to be nice to me, that's cool too. If you're here because you think you might learn something new, if you're here because it may be a review for you, or you're here because there's nothing on TV, I need somebody. All right.
Hey, Patsy, this is Alicia.
Hey, Alicia.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. So I'm interested because I do believe in the laws of attraction, and I feel like you are such a dominant spirit in that space, always giving amazing feedback in that space. So I'm always interested in hearing what you have to say, especially as I enter into, a new venture in my life. I just think it's important. And then I want to be able to kind of give that same energy to other people as well.
Okay, all right. That works for me. That sounds good. Okay, well, thank you. I just needed to hear some other voices in the place. Okay, so anyway, we're going to start off with meditation, and I think I have quite a few people here who didn't do the first class with us. So we're going to do a quick meditation on chakra balancing. Raise your hand if you have no idea what a chakra is. All right, everybody on here seems to know what a chakra is. I don't see any hands raised. Oops. What am I doing? Previous, okay. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. All right, so you know what your chakras are. Well, here's what I want you guys to do. Just kind of set up straight. We're gonna, because I don't want this class to go too long. I have some recaps and I wanna quickly go through these laws, pick up where we left off and go through these laws. But let's just ground ourselves, just become present. And one of the ways I personally like to become present is if you're comfortable crossing your legs, do that. But for me, placing my feet flat on the floor, sitting with my back straight and kind of leveling my chin with the floor, that immediately helps me become grounded. So you might think, well, what does she mean by grounded? Why does she want to ground? Grounded means that I'm pulling myself into the present. I'm coming here into this space. But believe it or not, when you feel yourself scattered, sometimes you are literally scattered. There are parts of you all over, parts of you thinking about something that happened yesterday, and that's where a part of you are, something thinking about what's coming up, something thinking about, I didn't do this, didn't do that, or whatever, scattered thoughts. Well, this is a grounding. This will bring you into the present. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, sit up straight, and just take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. So breathe in deeply. And exhale slowly. And on your next deep inhale, I want you to focus at the base of your spine, your buttocks. The very base of your spine. That is the root chakra. Just intentionally think of that space. You may feel some heat. The root chakra is where you are connected to Mother Earth. That's the area where you feel stability, secure. So just feel that connection and imagine, if you're sitting up, that there is an extension connected from the base of your spine to Mother Earth, just grounding you. And you feel so secure right now. Even heavy in your seat, well supported. Just continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to move your focus up from that base of your spine to your sacral area. Sacral. That's the area where birth happens, creation, sensuality, and pleasure. That is right in your pubic area. You can even think of your yoni area. Your divine feminine self. And you can see a yellow color. Just focus on that area, thinking about sensuality, creation, feminine energy. And try breathing in, focusing on that area. Let your breath focus in that area as you breathe in. And move up to your navel area, your solar plexus. You may even want to put your hand around your hands at your navel area. That's your power center. I'm sorry, the sacral area was orange. This area is yellow. And consciously breathe in through your belly. Feel your belly rise. Breathe in and breathe out. This is your power. Sometimes that area can feel really in charge. Sometimes you can feel like you've been kicked in it when your power is taken from you. So breathe in power, self-actualization power, control. Still feeling very connected. And move up to your heart. The heart center. Love. Unconditional love. You can even give yourself a little energy boost by placing your hands over your heart and consciously breathing in with your focus on your heart. Breathing in love. Exhaling love. Self-love. Love that knows no fear, just love. And move up to your throat chakra. Think of an indigo blue color. Sometimes we are afraid to speak. Sometimes we think our words will betray us. But breathe in that area, affirming, my words are powerful. They are creative force. And I speak wisely. So consciously try and breathe into that area. Now we're going to move up to what we call your third eye. That's at your forehead. This is where your visions are. This is where your ideas you can see. And sometimes our third eye gets cloudy because it wants to think of things that won't serve us so well. But we're going to clear that. And breathe in, affirming that I have creative vision. I have a vision to see what is for my best. And also to see what is not so good for me. I have vision. Good vision. Now we're going to move on up to our crown chakra at the top of our head. It's actually a few inches above our head, and that's our crown. That's where we call our higher self. All of it is good, our higher as well as our lower. This is a beautiful light that connects us to universal love, to goodness, to awareness, to higher intelligence. This is our connection to spirit. And we breathe in knowing that we are fully connected from our crown of our head all the way to the core of Mother Earth. And we affirm, I affirm, that I am in a good place. I am in a great place. I love myself. I love my body. And I am well balanced. So breathe in deeply, exhale. We're going to come back, present. When you're ready, open your eyes and be here. All righty, y'all. So our first class, we went over each one of these chakra areas. We imagined them spinning and brought them into balance. And the task was for everyone to look up some videos on chakra balancing. These are your energy centers. I'm not going to go into the whole class with that, but if you don't know much about them, I do invite you to take a look and explore, because you can always bring yourself into balance. Sometimes you may find that one area that we talked about might be out of sync. Like you might, feel like my finances are out of sync. I don't know where I'm gonna stay tomorrow. That's when you want to work on your root chakra. You might feel like you're having problems speaking your truth. That's when you want to work on your throat chakra and bring it in balance. So I just want to really quickly, because we talk about being spiritual beings having a human experience, and the root word of spiritual is actually ritual. And I have come to believe quite a bit in rituals. As a matter of fact, I participated in a wonderful ritual yesterday with some powerful women as we celebrated a grand opening. And Alicia, your grand opening was full of rituals. What was one of the rituals we did at your grand opening?
Ribbon cutting.
Ribbon cutting. Ribbon cutting. Why was that significant, and why did you incorporate that ritual into the opening of your business?
Mainly because it speaks to, I guess, uniting with the small business family And the ribbon cutting is important because it also introduces to your friends and your family and, you know, anyone that supports you or that encourages you, that wants to be there to, you know, cheer you on, you know, the start of something new, the start of your new journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's almost like when that ribbon was cut, we just burst into clapping and brought in all kinds of energy and excitement because it's like something new. It's like a birthing. So we, you know, you can imagine even when that ribbon cutting is like the yoni opening for a baby to come out.
Yes.
I mean, it's exciting. And so that energy that we brought was the beginning, well, you started a long time ago when you started building.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
The ribbon cutting reminded me of cutting the umbilical cord for a baby.
Cutting the umbilical cord. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that word. Yes. So you can see and imagine so much going on, and you felt the energy when it happened. Everybody, you know, gave a big roar and cheer and hand claps. And that was ritual. And even the impact of clapping your hands is energetic and it's celebratory. So that energy was brought into your place, which is a blessing.
Yes, thank you.
That is a blessing in and of itself. So, you know, you'll hear some people say, well, you know, I don't know about rituals. It sounds kind of, you know, maybe I don't know if it's something that we should really do or practice. But everyone does rituals. It's when you become aware and you'll hear me use a word quite frequently. It's called ashe. When you understand the ashe, the power behind your ritual, then you increase its potency. Because that energy, you're able to recognize what's going on and capture it and propel it to be at your bidding, to do what you want it to do. So we're full of rituals. When we blow our candles on a birthday cake, when we sing happy birthday, when we take communion, when we put up a Christmas tree, all of those are rituals. So the significance is that it enhances, it blesses, it propels, it energizes, and its significance, the ashe of it, the power of it, can do our bidding when we recognize what we're doing. It can work even harder for us. So definition of ritual is a ceremonial. It can be a religious ritual or a social custom or a normal protocol. So I just wanted to put that out so that you can become more aware of rituals that you're doing and start applying a significance to them. Popping a champagne bottle. You're uncorking something. Letting, you know, give rise to something. So call forth the ashe and then think of what can I do with that in my life? How can I use that? What's the significance? And it's okay to take a customary ritual and repurpose it. I do that for Thanksgiving. We all do. You know, the idea of Thanksgiving was to thank the pilgrims and all that kind of stuff, but we do use it as a celebration of family. So that's a ritual we've taken effect of. So we can look at it as a placebo in place of something to give rise, or we can make it a reality. And I'll give you an example, like like you can look at a seed from an apple. You can decide, okay, every time I hold an apple seed, when I cut an apple and I look at a seed, I'm going to think abundance, because I know this seed can yield more fruit, and more fruit, which will have more seeds, which will produce more seeds. And then from that, you can recognize the law of abundance, and you can make it your reality. So those were some of the things we talked about in our second class. And quickly, I want to go over the Ori again. We talked about the Ori, and this was something, again, was in our second class. I want you guys to understand the concept of you as a divine being. Because the whole purpose of looking at these universal laws and metaphysics is so that we can create the life we desire. And when you recognize that you are a divine being, and we can look at it from a perspective of religious teachings or an acknowledgement of, if I'm here and I have a creative power, then I have some sort of divinity. What is divinity? What does divinity mean to you? Somebody?
It's religious.
More of a
religious.
goddess, godlike.
Mm-hmm.
Higher power.
Higher power. So if you have free will and an ability to choose, and your choice will impact your life, and quite honestly, can impact other people, could impact the world, then you have a Godhead. You've got a creative force. So you want to recognize your power and who you are. So Ori literally means head. And it refers to your intuition, your destiny. And it is looked at in African traditional religion, which is what I practice, as a Godhead. And you can look at it from a Christian point of view when Jesus clearly said that you are like me. He's telling you the power that I have, you have, and we already know we have a creative force within. So we want to recognize who we are, and it's important that you recognize who you are so you can take care of yourself, you can honor yourself, you can love yourself, you can pay homage to yourself, you can take care of yourself. Because before you can take care of anybody else, you've got to take care of yourself. If I'm a wreck, there's no need of me trying to be a good mother, because it ain't gonna happen. Right? If I'm a wreck and I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not gonna do a very good job of being a caretaker of someone else. So we want to understand what it means to be a Godhead, a divine being, so that as a form of habit, we every morning, every day, think about how important we are to the world, about how important our creative forces are, and we want to honor ourselves. And in future workshops, we're going to even talk about setting up a space that really is a place for you to learn to honor yourself. So you can use interchangeably Ori or Oversoul, which is the higher self, a spirit that lives in all of us. But it's self-sufficient, self-existent, and it is a creative force, and it has free will. That's our Ori. So real quick, we're going to pack into universal laws, because it'll be time for us to move on. I don't want to keep you guys too long. We talked about the law of attraction, which is one of the universal principles that almost everybody knows about by now. I think 15 years ago, not everybody knew about it, but I think everybody understands that now. And it's amazing how things come out into the universe at a certain time and everybody starts picking it up. Universal laws are as old as the dirt, Napoleon Hill and others, and all the principles always talked about them, but now we're becoming more conscious of it. So it's really your conscious and your unconscious dominant thoughts manifest. So what you think matters. What you think matters. And I'm not going to spend too much time on these two because we talked about them in the second class. What you think matters, and it will manifest. But here's the trick. You have no control over your unconscious thought. Your unconscious thought is that same thought that says blink. You don't tell your eyes it's time to blink, it just does it. What you do have dominion and control over and can switch up is that conscious thought. So with that in mind, what do you think is the tool to control the conscious thought? What are one of the tools to control the conscious thought?
Meditation.
Meditation, okay, good one. Absolutely. What's another tool?
What you focus on?
What you focus on, what you speak on.
How about your diet?
Your
exercise?
how would diet impact that?
Because when you eat good, you feel good.
Okay.
You know, you're intentional, or exercise.
So you're raising your endorphins, you're feeling good, so you're attracting good. Yes.
Yes.
So many things. So here's something you can consciously take away. I'm consciously aware of the law of attraction, and I focus my thoughts and energies on beautiful outcomes for my life. So that's a great mantra. And when you're stuck in traffic and it's working your nerves, you can choose to focus on the traffic working your nerves and then end up with a rotten day, or you can start changing your thought pattern. So the other law we talked about was the law of abundance. The universe holds abundance in all energy forms and provides unlimited options for anything and everything you could want or need. So many of our problems, our issues, our fears are related to a belief in scarcity. We may not verbalize it that way, we may not even know or consciously aware. But a lot of our issues happen because we believe that there's scarcity. We get stuck in relationships because we're afraid I can't find a good man. I gotta keep what I have. We get stuck on jobs because I gotta keep this good one. There's, jobs are scarce. But when we recognize the law of abundance, that the universe is not gonna run out of things no more than there's going to be a shortage of sand at the beach or leaves on the planet. We live in an abundant universe. And I use the picture of watermelons because watermelon, like apples, it just amazes me when you cut open a watermelon. Well, they're making so many of them seedless now. You cut open a watermelon, you see all these seeds. Think of one seed, how many more watermelons it will produce. Then from there, how many more seeds and how many more seeds. That's the universe, and that's what we want to focus on. So this is one of the affirmations. I live in a lavishly abundant universe, and my needs and desires are always met. So when you start feeling scarcity, and that's, again, words are what starts changing your conscious thought, which your unconscious pattern picks up. And that's how the law of attraction comes into play. So all of these laws tie in together. Even actually the law of attraction, some people are now saying that that's not a law, that's an outcome. Because all of these other laws are what make that one happen. So from there, okay, so this is where I'm picking up in this class, law of reciprocity. Let me share with you, okay, so there were two other laws that we did in the first class. There was the law of energy and the law of oneness. So we explored how energy felt. We did the meditation. We also did some work with feeling energy between the palms of our hands. Tania and Lorraine and Tiffany, I think, well, Tania, I don't know if she's still on. We explored how you could feel energy when you hug someone and you breathe in through your heart with them and they can feel the energy. So we talked, so that's the first law that you want to understand. And the law of oneness, our connection, and law of attraction, law of abundance. So now I'm going to go right into the law of reciprocity. Now, someone, let's see, someone read that first line about law of reciprocity.
Giving and receiving is the same thing, or you sow as you reap.
Yes, yes. So one of the things we have been taught, and we come to understand, if you grew up in the church, you heard a lot about tithing. You know, and as I remember one of the scriptures said, would a man rob God? How can you rob God? By not giving him the tithes and offerings. You think, well, God got everything he needs. But if you think of the fact that I am consciously, consistently asking God for something, God, spirit, source is like, it don't work like that. You don't come to me asking for something and not give something back to me. And the truth be told, before you come to me to ask for something, give me something. So the law of reciprocity lets you understand that giving and receiving is the same, or as you sow, so you reap. So you want to consciously, I like to even do it, look at it as a circle. You want to consciously give so that you can be in the flow of receiving. If you give a smile, whether the person smiles back at you or not, guess what you received? A smile. Everybody smile. When you smile, you may be sharing that with someone else, but you gave yourself a smile. So in terms of connecting with others, when you recognize that the law of oneness is in serving others, because it's also like in serving yourself. It may not be instantaneous. You may not see it come back to you from the person you gave it to, but you're keeping the flow going. And you want to practice that through either tithing, offerings, and you don't have to necessarily tithe at church. You can tithe with someone who gives you a good word, a good message. In my practice, I have shrines. I have an ancestor altar. I consciously and continuously give offerings, right? I bring a plate of food literally to my ancestor altar. And there, no, I'm not gonna see ghosts come by and eat that food, and that food is going to be sitting there. But what I'm doing is I'm energetically bringing an offering, saying, look out for me, please. Here's something for you. Give back to me. Take care of me. Take care of my family. Protect us. Because as we know, spirit doesn't die. So this is my way of continuing to keep that process going. And also, you want to learn how to receive easily. Because if you are in the habit of giving and always saying no thank you, you're blocking the flow. If someone gives you a compliment and you're quickly thinking about, oh, I'm not that good looking, or is this old thing, or you don't want to receive it, then you're also blocking the flow. So you want to be conscious about receiving easily and developing a generous spirit. Okay? And when you do this, if you do this positively, you can, again, this will impact the law of attraction. You planting and you're giving out good energy, so that's what's coming back to you. So you want to recognize, because you can also do the law of reciprocity and shoot out some ugly thoughts, some ugly energy, you know, and that's what you're inviting back to you. So when you consciously apply this thought with good energy, then you are able, your life becomes richer and more fulfilling as you share your gifts, your talents, and your treasures with others, because you are recognizing the flow. Otherwise, you're robbing. You're looking, you're taking, and you're not giving back. And the law of oneness does not like that. And that cripples, again, the law of attraction for you. So an affirmation there is, I am consciously aware that giving and receiving are the same. It is with this conscious awareness that I share my gifts with love, and I joyfully receive gifts that are given to me. And that is a way to keep that flow going. Just as we recognize our God self, it's a good idea. I recommend that you start recognizing God in nature, because we talk about energy. So think of Mother Earth as a deity. So honor Earth, right? When you go to water, honor water, so you can be conscious of what you're giving, what you're leaving, how you're treating it, because that energy will come back to you. So there's a whole flow and depth that we can go into there as well. The next law that we're going to talk about is the law of cause and effect. And this, again, ties greatly into what we call the law of attraction. And you can see why the law of attraction is considered a principle and outcome. Because the first cause is the thought, and then the effect is the physical manifestation. But usually what precedes a thought often, or not what precedes it. Well, yeah, I guess you could say in the beginning was a word. But before I say a word, I usually think it, right? So you can look at them as the same. It's a creative force. You want to understand that your words, there's a whole course that I have done. It's called The Power of Your Word, so that you can become a very conscious, creative communicator. Even the words you tell yourself, the story you tell yourself, is what causes the effect. The stories you have heard about yourself, be they true or untrue, bring forth your effect. Somebody give me an example of a cause and effect that you know of, maybe in your life or somebody you know, where you can see a story or a word or a thought has impacted them.
What comes to mind for me is Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
When I was listening to him speak one time, he was saying that he used to say he was the greatest, even before he knew he was, even before he became a champion. He always used to say it, that he was the greatest.
Ashe. And he was the greatest.
Ashe.
Yes, yes. Did Camille, you started the Apple experiment?
I did not.
Oh, did it? Okay, so I don't know if anybody's on here who did it, but if you saw my first class, my first and second class, we talked about the apple experiment, and I saw somebody just do this with rice as well. 11 days, I talked really horribly to half an apple and really sweet to another half. And after 11 days, you could see the impact of what the words of an apple in a jar sealed up, what my words did to that apple. Loving words produced a really beautiful apple. After 11 days, you would hardly know that it had been sitting in a jar. And the other half was rotten, black, and ugly, just from my words. So if you are telling yourself that I'm overweight, and I've always been overweight, and I'll never get any smaller, then guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna be overweight, always be overweight, never get any smaller. So one of the ways to impact the effect you want is this, and you've heard this, speak it as if it already were. Anybody do that? Has anyone on here done that and watched something happen? Watch a shift. Had a shift happen.
Sure.
Speak it into existence. Speak it as if it already were. Muhammad Ali decided he was the greatest. Oprah Winfrey did something too, didn't she? So let's talk about how you can consciously apply it. We have this thing called imagination, and when we were kids, we may have been told, don't let your imagination run wild. I'm here to tell you, let your imagination run wild in your favor. Begin imagining things. Alicia, I knew when you opened, you had to have sight, you had to have vision, you had to imagine how beautiful that space would look in order for it to become what you wanted it to become.
For the last 5 years.
There you go. There you go. So you keep the dream alive. Use your imagination wisely. Another one is practice positive self-talk. Listen to your thoughts and hear your dominant thoughts. Listen to what you tell yourself. I tell you, this past year, I have begun to actually start talking to myself out loud. One of the smartest things I started doing. Why do you think that's I decided it's a smart thing to do?
I think you can hear the sincerity in your voice, where you hear the inflection, you hear what you're putting out there and saying to yourself, and you're using it to empower you.
Absolutely. Because there is an energy in the voice. There's an energy in the voice, and when you speak it, there's a response that is generated. The other thing that I have learned this year, I tell you, this year has been good to me. I have learned to ask more questions out loud. Like sometimes we'll think to ourselves, what did I do with my keys? And we'll think it. And the minute we say, where did I put my keys? The answer may start coming to you, because when you pose a question there, answer and the question is on the same plane at the same time. So you're absolutely right, Alicia. You say it, you should, even when you are praying, it is more impactful, even if it's just you, to pray out loud than to pray in your mind. Because there's an energetic force in the words. And remember, you are training your conscious mind. So when your conscious mind hear as well as feel what your thoughts are, you are waking it up even more. So become more conscious of your thoughts and practice self-talk. So practice self-talk even to the point of when you are telling yourself stories that are not beneficial to you. Especially if you're alone, you might not want to do this too much when others are around. Start having that conversation out loud with yourself so that you can start shifting. Treat yourself like a best friend. And start shifting your thoughts. Another good way, another good empowering tactic is to begin journaling. Write down those thoughts like, okay, I've been fat all my life. I love food and I don't want to give it up. And I enjoy being fat. Then you can start shifting your thought like, I enjoy being fat and I know that I have the power to change. So you can start gently reeling yourself into changing your thought, changing your conversation, because sometimes it's hard to go from one level to the next. Somebody give me an issue. Give me something that may be impactful, a shift that you or someone else you know may need to make in some self-talk, some that may have impacted them negatively. So we can look at some examples.
Depression.
Okay. Depression runs in my family. And depression is just a way of life. It's just something I'm gonna have to live with. I mean, it's ebb and flow, you know, sometimes I'm depressed, sometimes I'm not. Right? That may be our self-talk, right? So how can you start shifting that talk? If that is a constant conversation you're having with yourself, what are some of the things you can use to change that? What's the next level thought? So maybe you can't go from depression to I'm happy. What's the next level thought you can go to?
Focusing on the good.
On the good. Okay, so you're in a funk. Let's look at this real world. You're sitting here on the funk and you're like, oh God, here I am again, depressed. Nothing ever goes my way.
But it's a perspective,
I would usually set intentions to like have like a happy day or, you know, plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I feel like when you're fighting demons like that, like if you fail to plan, then you're preparing to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be intentional and prepared if I feel that depression may come or whatever it is that you might be going through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think, Patsy, I think when you're in a place like that, you have to kind of dig a little deeper and find that piece that's in you that sprouts out gratitude. I think if you live in gratitude for all of the things that you have versus all of the things that are you don't have or not going your way, generally the things that you have already, they mean so much. And when you live in that space of gratitude, it changes things, and it might take time to get to a different level, but it definitely changes things.
Yes. Okay. All of those are excellent ideas. So you might be in a depressed state, and then you look down at your big toe and say, boy, I got a cute big toe. Hey, she put that polish on there just right, didn't she? Did you see what I just did? It ties into what you said, Alicia.
Yeah. And I have one other example. I was watching Mike Epps this morning, and he stopped in the middle of one in his show, and he made a point to say, if you tired of all your problems, and you say, okay, I'm just going to throw my problems on the ground, and everybody, let's just throw our problems on the ground. And then when you go to try to pick your problem back up, you realize somebody else picked your problem up. So you got to pick up whatever's left. And when you pick up somebody else's problem, you realize that the problem that you had, you'd rather have your problem.
Right.
Then,
Right.
Okay. Somebody is, you just never know what somebody else is going through, where it just gives you sometimes the ability to be grateful that whatever you are going through, that you'll get through it so that you have a testimony.
Right. And the truth be told, we came on this planet to have problems. We came here to experience challenges. That's what I like to call them. That's the purpose of this journey. So when you learn to become an observer and accept that, you can realize, because like you said, Alicia, you throw them all on the ground, you look down, oh, I got rid of that one, there's another one over there. Something is going to always come up. So, I mean, I don't think anybody is brand new to this planet Earth, but everybody on this phone I know has had problems, gonna have a problem, will have a problem, got rid of a problem, picked up a new problem. That's what this whole journey is about. And you can reframe it. You can call them problems, call them challenges, call them stuff, whatever you want to call it, but it's going to be one. It's going to be something. And it could conceivably be worse, or somebody's problem could look, they're calling that an issue. When you think about a 2-year-old, when they want a toy, they want a toy. And we're like, why is he making a big deal about that toy? Because that's his big issue. He came here to be mad about not having that toy. And we're saying, oh, get over here. You can't have the Jack in the Box, but you can have the whatever, the ball. And we're trying to divert them. So when you recognize that life will always have its issues or challenges, then you can become an observer. You can work through them. And we could say, oh, you could wait for the next shoe to fall, or you could say, enjoy, both shoes are on now. And when the next shoe falls, it's like, okay, here, I signed up for this one too.
I can't hear you anymore.
Did I freeze on everybody?
No, I can still hear
you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So one of the things, so you can recognize, become an observer, and know that issues, problems challenges will always be there. But in order to help you through the process, become an observer. And again, it's not that, like sometimes we have to focus, of course, we have to focus on issues to solve them. But when you find yourself in a state of depression, as Alicia said, you can change your thought. And if you're having a hard time changing the thought, like I said, Look at something, there's something you like. You like the way your fingernails look. You like your hair. You know, start changing your mind, rewriting the story, utilizing your imagination and creating something different. Do you find that at all helpful, Camille?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm taking notes.
Okay, so those are
Thank
some tactics and techniques that you can use, and you know, and when I'm talking about depression, I don't want to come across as if I'm trying to be a therapist or anything. I'm talking about states, like moments. So how do I get myself out of a funk? And as Tiffany said, become intentional. Know what your happiness triggers are, just like you know what your sad triggers are. Know what your joy, what brings you joy. And recognize your God self. Recognize your divine self. And start having a conversation. Well, I'm divine. What is divinity doing walking around depressed? Bring offerings to yourself. And there are techniques. This is why we talked about rituals. There's a ritual that you may want to get in the habit of. We call it ori feeding, ori washing, where you actually get into a ritual. You know how we do communion in churches? Well, you do a ritual to cleanse your head, cleanse your ori, because your ori is constantly being dumped on. So you want to get into a ritual of clearing and cleaning and honoring and blessing. Because sometimes we're in a state of depression and we just need a good washing, a good healing, a good energetic cleaning. And that should be habitual. So just like there's ritual, there are habitual things that you should do every morning. There's techniques you should be using to bless yourself. So that's law of cause and effect. My thoughts are divinely inspired. I pray and meditate daily because I recognize my thoughts create my reality. Meditation helps. And here's the one that Alicia brought up, the law of gratitude. Oh my. That one probably should be one of the top ones. Somebody on Facebook posted about how 2020 was the most horrible year, and we should all of us should be glad, and how this was the worst year ever. I was at that, and I literally recognized in that moment that he said it, how powerfully impactful and blessed I have been this year. This has been one of my best years ever. And I can say that because I have consciously created and worked towards conscious creation. Outside forces do not dictate what happens with me. And this has been a phenomenal year for me. I have grown leaps and bounds. I have been more connected to spirit, to my higher self than ever. I'm bike riding regularly. Did I experience the same thing that those who were saying this was the worst year ever? Was I in the middle of all of that? Is the same thing going on in my world as theirs? Quite possibly. But where's my focus? I consciously chose not to focus on stuff that I knew would drive me crazy. 4 years ago, Trump drove me crazy. But because I'm consciously aware, I was able 4 years ago to say, am I going to allow that to drive me crazy, invade my space, take away my peace, take away my joy? Back to the no. Because I recognize my God self and I love myself way too much for that. Way too much for that. I love my peace of mind way too much for that. So we have to make a conscious choice of what we want our outcome and experience to be. And one of the quickest ways to do that is go to an attitude of gratitude. So imagine what's the difference in the vibration of the worst year ever, I can't wait until it gets over, or the vibration of, boy, when I look back on this year and I look at the things that I have done and accomplished and the growth, I personally feel set up for more like that. Anybody want to share an experience, either pro or con? And if there's a con, please contribute so we can talk about it and see how this law works, how we can make it work for us, consciously aware of how we can make it work to our advantage. I've been talking to myself. I'm talking to myself.
Nope, this is Ayodele. Hi, yeah. Hey.
Yeah, on the phone. Yeah, hey.
Hey. So gratitude has worked for me as well. And I chose, like you, not to give in to this, fear during this pandemic or whatever. And what I am grateful for and have continued to be grateful for throughout these almost 9 months, I think, is being able to jump back in. So I relaunched my business and started creating. So, I created a workshop called Quarantine. I created other workshops that would support myself in being consciously focused on what I wanted, but it also helped the larger whole because I was able to support other people in shifting their perspective. So I'm grateful that I have people in my life that are like-minded, that are doing the same thing, because there was once a time in my life where I had a bunch of people that would sit and have pity parties with me. So I'm grateful that who I'm linked to now was on the same page, and we created a whole movement out of it, keeping each other up, everybody contributing to something that's powerful, something that's positive. And what it did for me is the gratitude that I have is that A, I didn't focus on what money is coming in and not coming in. B, I didn't focus on what would happen if I go outside, if I step into a store, if I didn't have that fear. The gratitude helped me to say, I am protected. I too did my Ori feeding, and I also my energy was focused on what I want and where I wanted it to be, and it became my inner G. And inner goddess, inner God, inner gratefulness, inner gratitude, inner all of those things. So I'm grateful that I was able to do that because of the people that I'm now connected to in my life.
Ashe. I love it. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? I need to hear somebody tell me how they can see the law of gratitude, maybe working for, against them, or just neutral. Thank you so much, EF.
I will share, Pat. I have on my vision board my 3 G's: God, giving, and gratitude. And I hold all three of them very important to me. And I start, of course, with God. And I notice when I'm showing a lot of gratitude for everything I have, because like you said, there's a lot of things that in 2020 we still can be happy about, and that's what I choose to focus on. And through the gratitude, I just feel the need to give, to help someone else, to serve. You know what I mean? And that's what God wants us to do. It's not about us. You know what I mean? It's about how we can also help other people too. So through just being grateful for what I have, it's just on my heart to just want to give and help other people and to serve. So gratitude is the key for me.
Yeah, well, and what you brought up too, Kim, was actually the law of reciprocity.
Right.
And that giving, see that, and that's that giving. That's what we're saying. Giving and receiving is the same thing, because as you're giving, you're opening yourself up to receive more. Because even in that giving, it's like, I think of a smile. You give a smile, you got to smile.
Yeah.
So that's back to the law of reciprocity. So you can see how they all flow into and I've got,
they're all connected.
I did a little copy and paste. That should say underneath, gratitude recognizes the desires of our hearts are already here. And with gratitude, the expression to the universe is send more.
Yes. There you go.
That is the message, is send more. Because if you can, let's see, pouring out liquor for those who have passed. Oh, that was ritual. Gratitude just keeps giving more reasons for us to be grateful. It's like, believe it or not, all these folks who are sitting there with their mantra, oh, this was the worst year ever, I'll be glad when it goes away. They don't realize they're calling it more worst year ever. All these laws, they don't care what your intention is. They work from what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're putting out. And that's where the creative force, the creative measurement comes in. So if you are intentional about, I want to live a joy-filled life, then you become conscious of, what are my thoughts and where is my focus? And again, it's not always to go from, I'm stuck inside since March, to, oh, I'm happy to be inside. It's not always good. It's not always easy to go from one really low vibrational thought to a real high vibrational thought. So what you learn to do is incrementally. I've been at home for 9 months and I'm sitting here and I'm just eating myself, and I've gained 40 pounds. Okay. So that's maybe your dominant thought. The next thought may be, and I have become a good cook. You see what you just did? And I have become a good cook. So now I can focus on, I'm good. I've become a good cook. I learn things easily. Look how easily I learned to cook differently. I can learn how to cook healthy food. I love to eat, and I eat so much. Because I'm such a good cook, I can learn how to cook food that is good for me, that is satisfying and filling. So we can start changing our conversations, one incrementally. So it's already 8:50. We went over some laws. I think my first two classes were like the groundwork for all of this. So I know I called in quite a few people who did not attend the first two classes. So I want some quick feedback on what you learned, what your takeaway is before I bring in my next slide. gratitude. That my heart is filled with gratitude. Okay, so somebody give me some quick takeaways because we're going to end in a few minutes.
What you focus on is what you will attract, what you will manifest, basically.
Okay. And give me some things, some tools you can use to help with your focus.
Meditation, really taking time to level our chakra and grounding ourselves.
Okay.
Journaling.
Journaling.
Talking to yourself out loud.
Talking to yourself out loud, having that self-conversation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, praying out loud, right?
Yes, praying out loud. Power of your words, understanding that energy. Yes. Okay. Anything else?
Oh, rituals.
You got a
Ritual.
ritual?
So remember the last time we were together, we did the ritual where we had the water and we put some orange in the water, I think, and then we what do we do with it? We put it on our heads, I think.
Oh yes. We bless some water and bless our Ori. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yep. And that is a ritual that if you don't do anything else, you need to, I'd like to see you pick that up. Yes. Okay, so rituals. So we've got rituals, conversations out loud, journaling, meditation, balancing our chakras.
Okay, you know what I thought about when you said you offer a plate of food to your ancestors? I was thinking about when people pour out liquor or alcohol for well, I guess it doesn't have to be alcohol, but for people who have gone before us.
That's right. Pouring libations. Absolutely.
Libations, right.
Yes, absolutely. That's a way to honor, recognizing the spirits. Okay. So there are quite a few techniques that you guys have picked up. So what I want to introduce to you is some workshops that I have coming up, and you can pass the word if you think that is something you might want to be interested in. This what I presented was just an introduction. I'm ready to take you guys, whoever is ready, to get intense. We're going to do 32 days of intense work. Emerge powerful. We're going to immerse, release, and emerge. We'll have weekly meetings, a Facebook group. We're going to do experimental exercises and rituals. It will be ritual intense, exercise intense. We're going to look at some true manifestation techniques. We'll have accountability. We'll have tools and optional one-on-one coaching. So that's 32 days beginning January 15th, and the fee for that is $140 advance payment. So that's one option that I have. The other option is targeted coaching. And with this targeted coaching, you'll uncover your life purpose, even have a purpose statement. It can be target goal focused or bliss body focused if you're looking to shift something within your body, weight, size, shape. You want more rounded curves or something, a flat belly, all of that. Or manifest your ideal mate. And it's going to be about self-love and healing, and that will be one-on-one coaching, and it will also include the 32 days of intense. That one is $640 for a 6-week minimum. It includes the intense, and it's paid weekly. And the last one I have offered, you can just uncover your life purpose to live passionately and purposefully. And you'll get a purpose statement, how to use it in life, and to really become intentional. And that is $122, or if you decide to do the 32 days, then it would be included in the intense workshop. So I am doing this because I'm ready to live purposely and passionately. Fulfill my life purpose, which is to help others tap into their divine inner power to create the life they desire. And I really feel like my life is a demonstration of it. I feel like my joy factor is pretty high. Not to say, don't ever mistake me to say that I don't have my issues, my problems, my concerns, but I have become as much an observer to that as in it. Another thing this year, I really have discovered, and I know this might sound grotesque to some, but it's a real growth for me. I have discovered that I'm not afraid, like with the same passion I have for living, I no longer fear death, because I recognize death is just another stage or state. And I bring that up just so that you guys can understand the level of satisfaction that I have with my life at this point. So, so this is what I have available. This is what I'm doing. So if you are interested, let me know. If you know someone who's interested, let me know. If there's someone you know who uses and there's financial issues, I do have scholarships and bartering opportunities. But this is what I'm doing now, y'all. Put it out there. Put it out there for me. And I would love to be able to take, I'm looking forward to the 32 days of intense work, because we're going to go deep. I mean, within the Facebook group, we'll be doing some real accountability work, some intense digging deep, immersing ourselves, and then releasing what no longer serves us so we can emerge powerfully. Any questions? No questions, no comments, no concerns? Well, thank you, all of you, for showing up. I hope that you were able to get something out of this. So the recording for this is available and the first class is available. Unfortunately, the second one is not. But that's all I've got, unless somebody has something more.
Thank you, Patsy.
You're quite welcome. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
All right, thank you. Good night, everybody. Oh, wrong face. I'm showing the wrong side. Let me turn this way.
Thank you, Patsy.
Good night.
Okay, so.